Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about
everything theater. And today we are going bi-coastal.
That's right. We are all the way to the West Coast.
I know. And we have the lovely and talented, multi-talented Laurie O'Brien with us today. Hi.
Hi.
This is so exciting because we haven't all been together. We're going to call it all in the same place. In 2 years, I guess it is. We were all at Capitol Rep. It's a little over 2 years. April would have been 2 years, I guess.
Well, we closed May 13th. So really close to 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah.
And if you got to see the show, Laurie was the incredible queen. How you rocked that costume. Laurie was in a costume that probably spanned Albany and Schenectady County.
Yeah, you had to turn
weighed
sideways.
About 50 pounds or something. Yeah, remember I had to tip it like this in order to get through doors, some of the doors. When they first designed it, I said, and they had me blocked from coming from up the stairs down these like stairs with a little narrow railing, and and I went, you know what? I think my dress is bigger than the stairs are. I think we need to rethink this. I didn't even have, it was just that the beginning of it when they first gave. So we went out on the thing and it was like, yeah, no. And I was supposed to like elegantly, but rather quickly make it down those stairs. No, it wasn't happening.
You really needed a slide, I think. Laurie, we want to talk a little bit about what's going on the West Coast.
Okay.
The world's, Ellen, let's do that first.
Sure.
Okay. Let's get rid of the biz. The world is reopening. California, New York, sort of on the same schedule. Give us a sense of what's happening with theater, live theater, out in your neck of the woods in Los Angeles area.
Well, it closed down completely, but the small theaters have been really great at staying connected with each other and have formed alliances. And there's been lots of online performances through Evite, and there's all of this stuff. And for me personally, I've stayed very connected with the Victory Theater. And we actually ended up filming a play that I did 4 years ago as a play still. There's just two of us, so we were able to like manage the COVID through this and be with each other. And we did it in March, and it's called Pie in the Sky, and it's written by somebody actually out your way on the East Coast, Lawrence Thalen, and we had done it and went to rave reviews 4 years ago. And this guy Eric Ron had this great idea to film it, and so now it's like out. I mean, he's like sending it to festivals, etc. So we were able to manage that, and that's this little theater where I also had connected somebody from the Capitol Reps playwrights conference. Remember the new playwrights thing? I connected her to them, and they do some of her shows. So there is like this connection between the Victory Theater and you guys, and all this stuff. And I also have been able to do Backstory, which is a storytelling program that my husband and Adele Slaughter and I produce bi-monthly, and we've been able to do it on Zoom, of course, through the pandemic, and we've done one every, and I've performed in two of them. I emceed one, and I've performed in one, and you can see that. Theaters are opening. Like I just looked up Odyssey Theater, where my husband did the very last show before the lockdown last year. Was it just last year? Yes, last year. And they are like in person opening now because Los Angeles or California has opened up completely as of this week, as of the 15th.
Yeah.
So there's, and CTG, the big things, I have season tickets to the Amundsen, et cetera. And their first show is in December. It's just, it's gone all wonky, but they're doing uh Christmas Carol to open. And I'm not sure because exactly how that's going to work with season tickets, and
Yeah. Laurie, do you get the sense? I mean, look, we know it doesn't matter what coast you act on. Actors are very eager to get back on stage. The virtual was fine for a while, but boy, I want to stand look them in the eyes. So we know that the actors want to get back on stage. Do you have a sense about the audiences? Are they comfortable to come back in?
I don't think so. I don't. I don't think. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see, because I'm so involved with the the people who are, as you said, eager to get back and look at each other in the eye. And everybody is biting at the bit to do that. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how the audiences feel. I just don't know how you can predict that. I do know that, I just was talking to my neighbors. I just went out, and a couple of days ago, young, hip, out there people, who have even worked through the pandemic. One of them has gone into work all the time, and another one has been working from home and wants to continue working from home. So they're like in their mid 30s, healthy, out there, cool people, not eager to take their masks off, not eager to be around people. I've been out, like I said, we opened, quote unquote, everything as of Tuesday. And I've been out the last couple of days, and there's certain stores, there's certain restaurants that still are asking you to wear a mask and to come in, and people are like, and the small stores, still masking. Everybody's still staying away. I don't know. People are scared because it's been a year where they've been told, don't, you'll die if you even take that mask off.
Right.
And so asking them to sit in a small, dark space next to each other when, you're used to social distancing, and, and not pay attention to the person who just coughed behind you. I mean, that's always been an issue. I just think that it's going to be, I think that in order for it to work, theaters have to be ultra conscious of how
Laurie?
the audience is feeling.
Yeah. When you and we have to wonder also, as an actress, if you get cast next week with appropriate COVID protocols, how do you feel about being on stage?
Well, I'm telling you that when we did the Pie in the Sky, it was tough.
But you didn't have an audience.
Didn't have an audience. It was just us. It was just us. But I know, but I mean, that's is what I'm saying is it was tough then, of leaping past the feeling of just my cast, that we were okay, trusting that they were being tested, that we were okay, that the people the crew, the so on and so forth. Yeah, it's about trust. I mean, the fact is that I'm vaccinated, double vaccinated, so I'm safe. And I am, and I believe that. And I believe that the sooner we've got just to get everybody vaccinated. And
but Laurie, being on stage, you get cast now, you feel comfortable with your fellow actors, but the audience that comes in,
that's
you said,
how do you
right? And I know you're vaccinated, and we all know that vaccinations really are very, very effective, even against the Delta, used to be called the Indian
exactly.
variant. But do you feel comfortable getting up on stage?
And that's what I'm trying to say. There's this leap of faith that you have to take.
Yeah.
And I think that it has to be done in step by step. So yes, if I would take pause, but I'd probably do it.
Now, kind of related, but a segue. Some of our listeners may hear Laurie's voice and go, wait a minute, this voice might sound a little familiar, because you've done a lot of voiceover. In fact, you were the voiceover of my childhood, because you voiced Miss Piggy in Muppet Babies. And you did. We have an amazing video of you doing the voice in your great queen costume. And I'm kind of curious. I do voiceover work from home. I've always done that for several years, and just do it freelance. And I've seen a huge change in a lot more voiceover actors hopping on this kind of working from home, creating a home studio to find work this past year. Have you noticed any kind of change in the voiceover industry? And do you think there will be a big move to have actors more kind of do stuff from home? Or, I don't know. Do you have a sense of that?
Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely. All my friends. I mean, the thing is that it was moving in that direction anyway.
Mm.
A lot of, I mean, almost everybody I know has an in-home studio of sorts, a place that they can, I mean, auditions rarely are done in person anymore. And the work, I mean, I have a lot of people who work at Disney, and they're, and both on both sides of the dial, so to speak. And they are like one woman I know, a friend of mine, Barbara Derrickson, she went in for an audition, and she said she did go in on in, and it was like, so, I mean, that's been the truth with being on TV sets or anything else, is that it's so ultra safe, safer than going to the grocery store. And that's how it was, you know, people one at a time, everything wiped down, isolation, so on and so forth. But majority of things are absolutely going to come from home. It just is.
What do you think about that?
Well, I have mixed feelings about it.
Those between us girls. Come on. I should point out, when Laurie's making a reference to yesterday, we are recording this on June 18th. You'll be hearing it back a few days after record. So just so as we're all on the same page.
Yeah. So,
I mean, does it take away from the audition experience?
Or the recording session experience, I guess, if you're doing it from home.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Because I actually believe that the reason that the Muppet Babies was such a success was because of the chemistry that happened between all of us. We were such a close, tight-knit group. As a matter of fact, my very dearest friend in the universe came from that experience, Russi Taylor, and who I lost last year, or 2 years ago. Oh God, it's almost been 2 years now. And you can feel it. I mean, you know, when you're in the room with people, it's like you were saying, Benita, before, about we want to see each other's eyes. We want to feel, I mean, there's so much that goes on that is undetectable. I mean, it's the same thing as you see a love scene on camera, and it just moves you to tears. And then you see another one with just as beautiful people doing almost exactly the same thing, and saying their words, all their words correctly and everything else, but you don't feel anything. It's because of the chemistry that went on between the people. Because even though there's a medium, I mean, you're not seeing it in person, the people themselves, whatever chemistry goes on between them. So yes, I think we lose something very important, even with voice work. And maybe even particularly in a way, because it's only that you don't have the sight and everything, you're dependent on the voice. And when you can see the person and smell the person, I mean, we had so much fun in those sessions. We laughed our way through everything, and that jovial environment just came through and made the whole thing really wonderful. So I guess that was a long way to say yes.
Can you kind of talk us through the process of voicing an animated series like that, from when you get the script to going into the recording session to having the animation? How does it all work?
Well, we didn't get the script until the day of it, of the work. Yeah. We did get recordings of the songs beforehand. My friend Janice Liebhardt wrote the songs with Alan O'Day, and they would write the songs and record the songs. Janice is brilliant, and she would record all of them, including all of the different parts. So, for each of us, and then send us demo tapes. And so we would get those ahead of time. I'm gonna take that back. Sometimes we did get those scripts beforehand, the day before. They would come to us, and then now but anyway, it doesn't matter because we didn't really have rehearsals all that much. We
Wow.
were like, at a certain point, we just like went into the booth. There was, the big booth with us all standing around. Different people had different ways that they like to work, sitting or standing or whatever, because people work differently. And we had our places, our positions, and they would come in. They would do sound checks with our mics, and we would, and then we would start to do it. And we stopped and started, stopped and started, stopped and start, stop and start. And because Hank Saroyan, who was our brilliant director, had very, and the creator of the whole thing, had a very specific thing that he wanted. But he also allowed us to play, but and we didn't improv though necessarily. At all. It's like, you can, and they actually animate to your voice. It's not the other way around, which is what people really think. And that's the important key there. So that if I put a little in it, that becomes part, and it becomes part of the script, then the animators do that, as opposed to me being restricted and watching and trying to match that. They match us. Which is again why the nuance comes in, because we guide that. The voice guides it.
How did you find that voice, Laurie?
Oh, that was interesting. When I was, oh gosh, in my 20s, someplace, I used to have this character, this little girl voice that I would walk around and do all the time. And I would say, I'm going to make $1 million with this voice. You wait and see, right? And so, and I did. I actually did. And everybody, ha ha ha, that's really funny. I annoyed a lot of people, I think, because it's really annoying for a grown-up woman to be walking around talking like a baby. But as it happened, I was in Los Angeles, and I had done a stage play that actually started my career in Los Angeles. I played the leading role of Mary Barnes in the play Mary Barnes. And she was a schizophrenic, and it was a 3-hour show, and it was like a huge, huge hit. And my a man who was to become my agent, Herb Tannen, saw it and wrote me a fan letter and said, you're just like you changed my life. You're the amazing actress. If you do anything else, please let me know. So I did something else, and I invited him, and he came and saw me, and he wrote to me and said, or called me and said, okay, I want to be a kind of a patron for you, because I think that you can do anything in the world. You're so good. So I'm going to bring you on. He was a commercial agent, bring you on commercially. And I think that you should get into voiceovers. I said, okay, good idea. So I came in, and the first thing he did, he sent me out for this wonderful thing at Hanna-Barbera. They were doing animals, but they were animating them like I Love Lucy or doing other stuff. And I felt like my audition was really literally blah, 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 blah. It was horrible. It was just horrible. I was just horrible. But I got a call back. So I was inspired to like keep on going. All right. Meanwhile, I'm doing a one-woman show that I had written, and I was rehearsing it. And Herb called me one day, and he says, Laurie, do you know how to do Miss Piggy as a child? And I said, not sure, I probably could. He goes, good, because I just lied and said you could do that and 3 other ones. And so you have an audition tomorrow at 10 a.m. to do Baby Miss Piggy. And I said, oh, Herb, I'm kind of busy. I'm in the middle of this, this, this one woman show thing. So I gotta put that aside. He goes, oh, no, you don't understand. This is a life-changing thing. You will be there at 10. Okay, I didn't know Muppets from Sesame Street. I didn't know like Elmo. I didn't understand the difference. I was like, back then we didn't have the internet either. We didn't have that. You had to and I didn't have a video recorder. I had a television, but I didn't have a video. So I went down to Blockbuster or Video Rama Hollywood or something and got Muppets Go to Hollywood. Muppets in Hollywood, is that what it was?
Muppets Take Manhattan, maybe?
No, it was earlier than that.
Oh,
you're right. I think it was Muppets Go to Hollywood.
I think that's what it is. And I called my friend who had a video recorder, and I went over and I watched the show, and I took my little tape recorder with me. And I took that voice I was going to make $1 million with. When I recorded a couple of things that Miss Piggy said, like, I'm going to be a high fashion model when I grow up, or no, but I am a high fashion. Hi, I'm Miss Piggy, and I'm going to be a high fashion model. And I got like her rhythms, like I recorded a few of those things, and then I attached that voice, my little girl voice, to it to get the rhythms like that, and I recorded her voice on that tape recorder. And then I took that recorder into my audition with me. Right? And so when I got the script at the audition, 750 people, by the way, auditioned for this. And I would listen to it and then read the thing. And actually, Hank would say to me, you're losing it. Listen to your tape again. And so I would listen to the tape. So I put that $1 million voice with those phrases that I got the phraseology, because if you note with voiceovers, like when they ask for a Susan Sarandon sound-alike, they're not asking for it to match her voice exactly. It's back to this attitude and chemistry and stuff. It's the personality. It's the rhythms. It's like when you're trying to learn a dialect, for instance. It's not about, it is where it's pitched, where you place the voice in your face or in your chest or in your throat, but it's also this rhythmic, it's these rhythms and stuff. So that combination of that got me the job.
Wow.
We just got a whole lesson in how to audition for voiceover work. And by the way, you were right. It was Muppets Go to Hollywood, 1979.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it was. And there were just a few of those things that I just plucked out of there and then applied my voice to it. That little girl's voice that I knew so well, and see, that's the other key to the voiceover thing, is to be willing to play all the time with your voice and be like bold with that. Me being like that silly little girl that whole time and having that voice in my pocket.
Did you have to audition more than once for that role, Laurie?
I did not until, I did that job for 10 years, and we recorded 107 or 108 episodes, and we did albums and songs with each one of those episodes. However, I did have to audition for it when they brought it back up. Disney redid it recently, and they had me audition. All of us that were doing it were available and are still working actors on one level or another. But they didn't hire any of us back.
Mm.
They treated me like I was a queen when I went in. As a matter of fact, the young man who took me into the room uh, afterwards said to me, "Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to be so popular around my friends because I'm going to be able to tell them that I met Miss Piggy, right? Baby Piggy." And yet I didn't, and yet they didn't hire me. So it's like I just have never quite understood what went on there, but I didn't get to do it again, which is heartbreaking.
But you did a lot of television guest roles as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did. I was very. I haven't worked on television for a while now. Well, COVID, for one thing, but older, yes. But yeah, I did a lot of guest stars, lots and lots of them, and TV movies. Do you remember movies of the week, MOWs? I
Yeah.
did a lot of those. And I just got to go everywhere, you know. I got to go to Canada, and I went to New Mexico, and to Utah, and to just like all over the place. I got to so much fun.
What's the
God,
beauty about
acting is
doing?
such a wonderful, oh my God, it's such a great job.
Okay, share a little. What's the most fun guest star role you did?
Um, oh, most fun. Well, see, the thing about my guest star roles is that in those episodics is
Mhm.
that they were, I could have done a whole demo tape on grieving mothers. Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, it would be very could probably be kind of funny in a bizarre way because it's like I gave away so many organs and and wept over people who were and rejoiced over people who survived. And oh wait, I really did love what was it Detroit 121 187 or some or something else, but where I had to be I had to do a Boston accent,
Mm.
South Boston accent. And everybody thought that I actually really had that accent, that I was actually from Boston. That just happened to me a number of times. That happened to me on Matlock when he believed that I was actually from Georgia, was it? And and argued with somebody in my stead that I was. I mean, everybody always thought that my accents were my accents. Did I have favorites? I don't know. I loved Lazarus Man. Lazarus Man, I did, and I shoot guns, and I got to take baths, and I got to. I mean, and yeah, I've had some great roles. I've really had some great roles, and because I I didn't get pegged in the lawyer, the realtor. I was always got to do all the emotional parts. Chicago Hope and ER and NYPD Blue. They were always like meaty things. As a matter of fact, when I was on um, CSI Miami, I I loved doing that because what's the lead character's name? Kelly? No. What
I
is his?
think maybe yeah, the Crusoe.
Yeah, yeah. He was just so supportive of me and made me feel I was at the time doing a two-hand play, Times Like These, that I played off and on for about 2 years all over. I did it in New York, I did it in Los Angeles, I did it in San Francisco, and I was in the midst of doing it someplace, but I got to do this role with him, and he was very supportive, and we were talking about he has this big career, he has this series it's like a big popular thing, and I'm like doing this little play off here in the corner, and 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 I have this little part on his big show, and he said, "Oh no, you are the one that's acting, you're the one that has the career, you're the one that's having fun." And he says, because I'm just always saying, "Oh yes, I think we should pick that up and take it over there. Oh, this looks like he just had to say the same things over and over. I got to come in there and be this really crazy woman with too much makeup on and talking in some weird accent, and who lost her daughter and is kind of dumb herself, but he was so giving and loving. He had more fun like giving and loving to me. So it goes back to that chemistry thing we're talking about, that eye to eye thing, because the joy for him that day was helping me with my scene.
Mm.
All right. So the last part of our show is called the close up. And these are just the rapid fire fun questions just about you, Laurie. So are you ready for your close up?
Yeah.
All right. So what was the moment for you when you just knew in your life, I have to do theater?
I was on stage. I was a mascot with my mother's singing group, and I was singing "Put the Blame on Mame" with a slinky dress on, with and little glass high heels and a cigarette holder, and that's it. I mean, I was singing a song, and I just had to. And then I started writing plays and doing something. It was early. Okay, that was not very fast. That was not lightning. Go. What's next?
What's next? The play that's had the biggest impact on your life. Where there being, what was it?
Oh, biggest impact on my life. It would have to be Mary Barnes that I mentioned before, because two things went on there. I had worked in mental hospitals doing theater workshops in Denver for 6 years, and I had left Denver to come to Los Angeles to become an actor. But I had promised that I would tell their stories. And the first big role, I mean, that not the first, but that role was playing a schizophrenic. And I knew from them and my work with them what that was. And it ushered me into the theater world and to my career. So it would be Mary Barnes.
What's a show that you haven't worked on yet that you would love to sink your teeth into?
Don't do that. Well, I always wanted to do not Under the Elms, but A Streetcar Named Desire, but I'm too old now.
Well, I'll have those shows that get away from us.
Yeah.
What's the biggest whoops that you've had on stage, or something just didn't go right, either to you or to someone else?
Well, kind of one of the funniest ones was a ending, or a guy was asleep in my arm or in my lap, and I'm supposed to. So it's only the two of us on stage, and I'm supposed to say I'm missing a piece of myself, and instead, very, very nicely and out to the audience, I said, I'm pissing. and the funny thing was him laughing in my arm. Because there was just no getting about it. I'm pissing.
And three women in the audience started laughing and said, "Me too."
And you've done like all different sides of performing, voiceover, movies, TV, stage. What is your favorite? What do you always go back to?
I always go back to theater.
How come?
Because you have this, it's the one place I can go to in my life where I know exactly what's going to happen, or what I'm going to say and do, but I don't know what's going to happen. So it's structured with all of this beautiful surprise involved in it. And when the lights go down or come up, and for those hours, I have all the control too. I mean, it's like you know,
Mm.
I, it's the people, it's the, what go back to the beginning of this, the chemistry.
And that's why we need it back. Um,
Back.
and so tell us a little bit more about what's happening with the West Coast theaters banding together.
Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that there is this bill, the SB 805, that a couple of our representatives have authored. State Senator Ben Allen and who's the other one? Susan Rubio. That it's an effort by a coalition of about 40 small 99-seat nonprofit theaters, and some support organizations and freelancers and stuff to band together to make theater more accessible to everybody by creating a funding infrastructure to help assist small profit performing arts companies to have an equitable payroll fund. In other words, allocate matching funds to pay all workers minimum wage so that people will be able to actually pay their actors without going under.
And that's one of my hopes of this pandemic, is that it's been a wake up call for the government and others that the arts need support, and they need more attention than they had even before the pandemic. It needs the funding and the support and the guidance. And hopefully we'll see some changes, since people have been stripped of theater for so long.
Yeah, and how it affects all of the economy too.
Yeah.
That people going out to the theater, go to the restaurants, and then there's the supply chain and so on. So our interconnection with all that, yeah, how really vital it is. Chemistry.
It's all about the chemistry. And on that, I think we're going to wrap up this episode. Laurie, it has been so delightful talking with you. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. It's really lovely to see both of you and just to be.
We'll catch you next time. And this is Everything Theater.